Anyway, what was your pivot, Dally? This and
Oh
Pivot
man,
is
if only there was a way to know about the history of Prince of
if
Persia.
only there was
Only
a
there
way
was a
to.
way.
There is. There's a couple ways, but
Yeah,
this is one of them. Uh, just released a little while ago is a
yeah.
graphic novel.
While we were in PAX, this book
Yeah.
came out, and I got a press early copy, so I read it on the flight down. And I read it again this week. It's Replay. I forget what the subtitle is again.
Replay the memoir of an
More of
uprooted
a
family.
yeah. So this is Jordan Mechner, creator of Prince of Persia and Karateka and The Last
Mm.
Train. This is his sort of personal memoir of his family. It's a powerful graphic novel. Please mute
Stop the
that. Thank
audio
you.
there. Yep.
Uh, um,
Whoop.
no, the thing about this book is that it's Mechner really punctuating his personal story with his father and grandfather's life during World War One and World War Two, and being a Jewish family, and the hardships and the terror um,
Hmm.
and the relief that sort of came throughout their story is fascinating. A lot happened in their between the generations of this family, and it's all sort of meticulously like maintained. Like the
Hmm.
grandfather wrote his own memoir, filled with photos and quotes and what have you, and his dad kept his own memoir, and Jordan's been keeping journals and sketchbooks since he was a teenager. So like this is three generations of a family that has been just like there is so much information and recordings and stuff. And so this is Mechner turning it into a graphic novel. And I don't know how he would feel about me saying this, but it plays very mouse-esque,
Hmm.
um,
Mm.
in the sense where it's really a story being told to somebody. Uh, and as he's drawing it, this is all Jordan Mechner's art.
Oh, cool.
Um, and he does a really cool thing with colors in this. So you're kind of jumping around between three different time zones. You're
Hmm.
jumping around between um sort
Eastern,
of
Central, West.
yes, exactly. Um you're jumping, so like when you're doing World War One and World War Two, it's kind of a grayscale
Hmm.
effect, as you can see, like on that right there, it's that color. When you're in the 70s and 80s, it's got a blue tone to it, and when
Okay.
you're in what would be the modern time, it's this yellow tone.
Oh, wow.
And modern is about 2017.
Mm.
2017 was kind of a hectic part of Mechner's life. He was his marriage was on the rocks, and he was uprooting himself to move to Marseille in France to work on a new video game,
Hmm.
a new Prince of Persia. Even his kids, like they have this thing where it's like, we're gonna work on a new Prince of Persia game, and his kids are like, another one? Can't you do something new, or at least like Princess of Persia or something? And he was like, but people love Prince of Persia,
What do
So,
you mean?
but so, and like that's a trend that goes through his
Hmm.
life too. That you see that, but so it's Mechner kind of comes across in the book as sort of um fighting with the fact that he doesn't have the level of strife. Like he is grateful that he has the life that he has because of all of the hardships that both his father in World War II and his grandfather fighting in World War One and living in through World War II as well. Like, he gets the benefit of having his childhood home still exist, having not having to like become a member of a new nation just because of
Hmm.
a military force coming in and taking over part of like, oh, you're Romanian now because the Nazi forces came in and took over part of Hungary, and that
Hmm.
kind of weird shit. But it's an incredibly powerful book that, like, it captivated me. I read it in one sitting, and it's like I said, it's very Mouse-esque, like learn the way it's paneled, the way it's framed. It's like the video game part of it is so minor. Mechner's story is just there to sort of reminisce about like like you never learn anything about Prince of Persia too much. You learn some things. This is about the extent of the creation, like
a couple
like
pages worth.
a couple of pages worth, and like you find out like the little mouse that saves the day was design. There's a hook in it that's actually really touching that I don't want to like, spoil, because I highly recommend anyone read this, even if you have no interest in Mechner's work. That doesn't matter. The to watch a family's struggles and sort of may come through on the other side.
So what is it? I mean, is this a memoir? Is it?
It's a memoir. It's a memoir of his family, of his
right.
Of his,
not necessarily
lineage.
a fully personal one.
It's not a fully personal one, although it does. Towards the end, like I was telling Dally before the show was started, he starts talking about making
memoir of
this
his family. Yeah.
Started making started talking about making a Prince of Persia game in like 2017. And I'm like, that never, like, I've never heard of this. Like, he hasn't released another game. Like, the making of Karateka and the remake of Karateka on the 360 were like the last two games that he'd like worked on, was involved with in any significant way. So it's like there was no Prince of Persia like that has come out that he's worked on, and especially not one during that time frame. Because like, what was it? What would have been the last one? Warrior Within or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
Because everything's been weird remakes and stuff since then. Yeah, so towards the end you get more information about it, like it was going to be an open world Prince of Persia game, and you know, they never say Ubisoft was working with him, but like he had to uproot his life and move to France to work on this game, so like you can read between the lines on that. And they were going to send him, like, the thing that ended up killing the game was like he was going to do research in like what would be the old Silk Road, and they ended up just kind of like, nah, you can't. There's the tensions in the Middle East are kind of like at an all-time high again, so we can't like risk sending you out there. So we've stopped that, and from there it just sort of like the game gets canceled. At one point it became Princess of Persia. So that's what it was going to be. It was going to be an open world Princess of Persia games, and with big ambitions of having your own horse and all that shit. But just never happened. What the book sort of does end up teasing in a weird way is Prince of Persia 3. Like he's sort of talking, because he goes through, it has one of those like post-credit scenes where he talks about all of his friends and like all of the people that worked with him on his previous games, and like people have died and stuff, and like so it's like him and his like last friend of development kind of stuff, talking about like, well, 2D games are in. It's like, yeah, multiple times throughout the book people straight out say, it's like, I hate working on AAA games. They destroy families, they destroy lives. Which like it just outright says that in this book more than once. Like him and it proves it, because him working on this game destroyed his marriage. So working on this 2017 Prince of Persia game destroyed his marriage. So like just go back to a 2D. So they have an idea, like Prince of Persia 2 ended on a cliffhanger. So my idea is let's do a 2D Prince of Persia, and it just sort of ends there. It doesn't announce anything. Nobody said anything, but it sort of makes you think like, I think Mechner's trying to force Ubisoft to let him make Prince of Persia 3.
Force their hand.
Yeah.
Very cool.
No, it's an emotional book. It made me tear up a couple of times. It gets really, I mean, a lot of, especially when they're very, very personal stories told with like actual quotes and like direct family stuff, with especially World War II stuff. Like it can really, you can really get you. And Mechner has a meticulous website that links at the end of the book and stuff that takes you. And he has a meticulous archive of like real photos and real like audio recordings and real like pages from them, because throughout the book, he's also scanning in all of his father's memoirs. So they're saved. He's creating a website for his family. His dad wants to write captions because, as his dad says in the book, that what good are photos without context? So,
This man found a publisher to pay for his own own family's history. I mean, like, I can't fault him for it either.
Yeah, and it's it's a powerful book. I highly recommend it, even if you're not a fan of any of Mechner's works, although I don't know how you couldn't be. Like, it's like, you know, Prince of Persia is an all time, but it's stuck with me. I think it's one of those things that will I'll read it again. Like, I'm going to buy a physical copy of this book just to like have it on my shelf. It's a fantastic piece of literature, and I'm glad I got the opportunity to like read it, and I'm glad he got the opportunity to like make it and create this. It's something so because he's worked on comics before. That's kind of what he's done outside of video games. Like, he lives in France and has drawn some comic books. So that's pretty much what Mechner's life is these days. So yeah, it's great. Absolutely fantastic.
Excellent.